candle. First, they saw a large blue and yellow carpet slipper on the top step, and then another slipper jumped past it onto the step below. The slippers kept coming down like this, and pretty soon they saw a long white nightshirt, and then a face which was mostly all whiskers, with a nose sticking out of them, and two sharp eyes looking over them, and then a white nightcap with a red tassel. And last of all, they saw an arm that ended in a hand holding a lighted candle. And Mr. Bean was in the kitchen. He went through the kitchen into the front parlour, and they heard him put up the window and fasten the loose blind. Then he came back. The dogs thumped their tails on the floor, and Jinks got up and rubbed his left ear on Mr. Bean's leg. Mr. Bean looked at them. "I suppose you animals would let that blind bang itself to pieces before you'd get up and fasten it," he said. "I go round telling all and sundry that my animals are the smartest animals in New York State, but I dunno. Seems to me if you was so all-fired smart, you'd fix a little thing like that yourselves, without waiting for me to do it. My gracious, if I can't count on you to see to a little thing like that, how could I go off to Europe all summer like Mrs. Bean wants me to, and leave you in charge of the farm? No, no, 'tain't to be thought of." And he stumped off upstairs again. "Oh, dear," said Georgie, "I knew something like this would happen. Mrs. Bean has worked so hard to get him to promise to take her and the boys to Europe." "I wish we had thought to fasten the old blind," said Jinks. "But after all, it's a pretty small thing to put off the trip to Europe for." "Well, I don't know," said Robert. "I don't believe any other farmer would ever go away and leave his farm in charge of a lot of animals for 6 months. It isn't that we can't look after things and keep the farm going all right, but animals aren't used to taking any responsibility. When we see something that ought to be done, we usually wait for Mr. Bean to do something about it, just like that blind." "Well," said Jinks, "we can look after the farm all right, but will we? You know how it is when we're all responsible for seeing to something. Each one of us thinks, 'Oh, well, somebody else will look after that,' and then it never gets done. No, we've got to select one animal who will be responsible for everything." "But there isn't any one animal who could do all the work on the farm," said Georgie. "I don't mean he'd do all the work, but he'd see that it got done, tell all the others what to do. Well, like the President of the United States. He'd be the big boss." "He'd be president of the bean farm," said Georgie. "Say, Jinks, why couldn't we elect a president? Have a regular election and everything." "Golly, that's a good idea," said Jinks enthusiastically. "An election with torchlight processions and campaign speeches and everything. That would fix running the farm all right. And we'd have a lot of fun, too. We'll get hold of Freddy first thing in the morning and call a meeting and talk it over." "There are a lot of things about running a farm that we don't know, though," said Robert. "There's money. What do any of us know about money?" "I found a quarter once," said Georgie. "What did you do with it?" asked Robert. "I don't remember." "There you are," said Jinks. "He doesn't remember. And yet you know what Mr. Bean said yesterday to Mrs. Bean about Adoniram? 'That boy,' he said, 'has got to learn to take care of money, or he'll never make a farmer.' Well, we won't be good farmers either, if we don't learn." "How do you take care of money?" Quick asked. "Put it in the bank, silly," said Jinks. "What for?" said Quick. "Oh, how should I know?" said the cat crossly. "Anyway, what do you care, Mouse? You haven't got any money." "Is that so?" said Quick. "You'd be surprised how many pieces of money mice find back of baseboards and under floors and places." "I suppose that's so," said Robert. "I wish there was some way..."